Now with a simple text editor program, like Notepad or WordPad, open the file called csconfig.pl. This is where you will configure most of the script. The first thing you will need to change is the database information. Each item has a variable name and an equal sign, then the information will be enclosed in quote marks or single quote marks. You should only change the information inside the quote marks or single quote marks. Do not edit anything else, unless you really know what you are doing. In most cases the first two things here should not need to be edited. The next is where you will copy and paste the name of your database. Remember, when we set this up, it may have added the cPanel username on the front of it. This may also be true with the MySQL username. Also enter the password that you just made when you created the new user for your database. This next option may not need to be changed. If you do need to change it, just ask your hosting company what the path to send mail is. Next, enter your company name or your website's name. This will appear in some places on the script. Next, if you have a way that you identify your customers, like a customer ID number, or a sales order number, or a username, and if you want your customer to be able to submit that information when they use the Contact Us form, then put the name of what you want to call it here. So if you call it a username, then simply type username here, and the script will ask the customer for their username on the Contact Us page. If you don't want to ask this from your customer, then leave it blank. Next, you need to decide if your customer should rate their comment, whether it is normal, important, or an emergency. Please note that an emergency to your customer may not always be the same as an emergency to you. But you can test this and see how it works for you if you want. You can always change this later. If you do not want your customers to rate their comments, then leave this as a 0. Otherwise put the number 1 there. If you put a 0 there, then it will not ask the customer how important their comment is. The script does nothing if the customer marks that it is a normal or important comment, but if they mark that it is an emergency, then the script would send an email to a different email address, which is the email address that is entered here. This could be a cell phone email address, or just someone else's email address, etc. It is up to you to determine if you need this feature. If you mark the above with a 1 and entered an email address here, and your customer marked the comment as an emergency, then the script would send an email to the regular email address, which was the first email address you entered, and it would send one to this email address. The next field to enter is the actual link to your site. The next is the path to where the script will be, so if you have to put it in a folder like the CGI bin folder, then you would enter it like this. Otherwise, if it will just be in your main home folder, just put your site link. Both the last two fields should have the http:// in front of them. Next, we will need to have some email addresses. Don't worry about setting up the actual email accounts yet, we will do that in a minute. You just need to make some up that you will use, or use some you have already set up. The first is the easy one. This should be a primary email address, where you want to be notified that you received a comment from a client. Notice that these email addresses are enclosed in single quotes. That is so that the script doesn't read the @ symbol as something else. The next email address can be the same as the first. This is the email address that you will reply with when you get a comment from your customer. It can be the same email address as the first if you wish. This next email address should be used by the script exclusively, and should be something unique that no one else will use. It should end with the domain name, that is actually sending your email responses. The way the script works is, when your client fills out the Contact Us script, the script will send you and the client an email, and it would be from this email address. When you reply, the reply would be sent to this email address. Any emails sent to that email address, without ticket information in the subject line, would get an automatic response saying that there was an error, that the email did not reach you, and that if they wanted to contact you, they should use the Contact Us form. The next email address can be the same as the first two. However, I recommend you use a different email address that you can set with an autoresponder to tell the person that you do not monitor that email address and that they should use the Contact Us form. This email address will be used as the from email address when someone requests their PIN number, etc. The next area is so you can add a footer on the Contact Us script. This could be more contact information, or anything else you want to put in a footer. You can use HTML here. You can easily experiment with what you put here. Next, you need to enter a random encryption key. It can be letters and numbers but must be exactly 24 characters long. Next is a time that will allow you to stay logged in as long as you have clicked a link in this many seconds. This field is where you could name your template page. And this is where you could change the name of the mobile template page. The template pages allow you to make these scripts look like your website. We have included sample template pages with the script. Here is where you could change the name of the placeholder that is used on the template pages. We have added this option just in case you already have a template page on your site and you simply need to change the placeholder. There. This script is now done and ready to be saved. There is one more script needs to be edited. It is the script titled contactautomatic.cgi. This script runs when it receives emails. Since it does not run from the browser, it needs the complete path to where the config script is. So open it with a plain text editor. Now change this part here. You may only need to change the username found here. Now you are done with editing the scripts.